Edition of Politics Tonight. I am Olajumoke Olatunji. President Bola Tinubu has conferred the award of the Member of the Order of the Niger (MON) on the Super Eagles players for their silver winning performance at the Africa Cup of Nations. On the interview segment for today, we focus on the Niger Delta Development Commission NDDC's fresh transformation plans with a lawyer and public affairs analyst. Libra Soshoma is our guest. Welcome to Politics Tonight, everyone. Please stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back, and thank you so much for staying with Politics Tonight. It's a 30-minute conversation tonight, so let's get straight into it. Tonight, I'm joined by a lawyer and public affairs analyst, Libra Soshoma, for discussion on the Niger Delta Development Commission's fresh transformation plans. Mr. Libros, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Great to see you again.
My pleasure. Thank you, Olajumoke.
So, when you talk about Niger Delta Development Commission, what comes to your mind?
Just like the name implies, a commission that and an interventionist agency that is founded and empowered to actually, compensate and develop the Nigeria Delta, compensate the people for the environmental degradation caused by the activities of mineral extraction going on, and then to also, give the people a sense of belonging and the fact that the government really cares. So that's basically what comes to mind. But how well that has been achieved is a different ballgame altogether.
But so far, has the Commission lived up to its expectations?
Not, I would say yes and no, to some extent. It is good that you have a Niger Delta Development Commission. It's an initiative that resonate with the people. To that extent, you will say, yes, it is good and it should be sustained. But has it lived up to its expectation? The answer would be, like I said, to a very large extent, no, but to some extent, yes. And that's why I said yes and no. And please permit me to quickly explain. I am aware of a lot of interventionist program, road construction, health, primary health centers, and water that the Commission had to carry out in the cost of its existence over time. But you find out that some of these roads construction or some of these jobs are either not durable because of the quality of the work done, which the Minister for Niger Delta alluded to in the recent retreat they had. And then also another aspect is the fund, the paucity of fund, which the managing director, the current managing director of the Commission also alluded to. And then lastly, the crisis of management and some past management members that attended, because at that retreat, it was like a homecoming for a lot of them who said that it was their first time since they left, including people like Timia Laibe that had left since, people like Chifogochukwu Onyema, that this is the first time they are being invited, by the Commission for a retreat such as this. And most of the issues alluded to, the fact that there should be a robust plan. And so in the absence of that robust plan, you find out that there will be failure. And that's why I said yes and no. To some extent, they have been able to create a synergy or compensate the pitfall or the lack of presence of some of the state government. But if you look at it holistically, you can say the people you had to complain about the fact that largely because of the squabbles and the lack of funds and tenure, security of tenure of the management, a lot has not been achieved in that regard.
So talking about the new leadership of the Commission, there was a retreat last week to promote communal harmony across the region. At that retreat, many expressed the confidence that the Commission under this current leadership is going to be different Do you share that optimism, and why?
First and foremost, what I noticed, because I also attended that retreat for the first time also, what I noticed, that is different from others that I have, because I have consistently, if you even look at, my social media wars, I've consistently talked about the NDDC. At some point, I would describe this as Niger Delta Development COM-CHOP, because of the crisis of management and what do you call it, the board over time. But what I noticed, about this new board is the fact that for the first time, like almost all of the former chairmen and managing directors alluded to, because almost all of them were there, apart from Professor Pondai and John Nunez. I saw almost everybody that had been a managing director or chairman of NDDC, which was novel and appreciative. It was like learning from the pitfall of the past to be able to fashion a way forward for the present. Because if we don't learn from the mistakes of the past, there's no way you are not going to fall on those same banana peels. And then also, they also appreciate the fact, and then something that for the first time in the history of the commission, a management consultant had been employed to work out what they call what do you call it now? But when I remember, I will let you know. The management, they are partnering with a management consultant to actually, create a compliance mechanism for them. And the MD also alluded to the fact that they are also partnering with the commerce, the chambers of commerce. So it's not just going to be an attitude of, where anybody can just wake up and say, I want to get a contract from the NDDC. So they want to draw contractors from a pool of the chambers of commerce, and chambers of commerce, they know themselves, and so you probably would have been tested, and consistently you have a pedigree among, your pair, so they can draw from those pools. So questions as to the Nigerian factor came up as, how do you now create a divorce between competence and the relationship, considering the fact that this has been the issue with the Niger Delta Development Commission, where members of the Niger Delta think that this is our ATM, and so anybody can just go there and fetch, or be compensated. So all of those issues came up. But one major issue that had was, a high point of discussion was removing the Niger Delta Development Commission from the TSA. Being an interventionist agency, and the management complained bitterly about, this idea of drop, or what I call a little drop of monthly allocation, and that with that it becomes very difficult for them to plan. And if the FCT can be removed from the TSA, being an interventionist agency that does not contribute to government, but is for government to fund and ensure that there is enough resources available for the development, that if you have your funds in bulk, it gives you opportunity to plan ahead. They are not even asking the government to pay them the money, but let the allocation be there, and then they can access loan from the bank to plan ahead, and then it becomes easy to actually carry out developmental plan, instead of having abandoned projects everywhere, like we see with the NDDC, which is why I said, meeting that mandate had been a difficult thing. So these are some of the high points, and I think that if truly, we are very good at talking, but the key point being a sustainable developmental plan, if they are able to carry out, see these plans through from the robust discussions and the panelists that came to
Mr.
talk,
Libros,
if they're able to carry, quickly, if they're able to carry half of this plan through, I think we'll definitely be seeing a new Niger Delta Development Commission.
Right. So since talking about this demand for the removal of the commission from Treasury single accounts, do you think, or do you agree the government should give it that exemption?
Yeah, okay, yes, I was talking about, sorry, quickly, I remember now, corporate governance structure that they had partnered with KPMG, a management consultants, to draw up a corporate governance structure for them to be followed strictly. And you know, one of the problems with government agencies in Nigeria is lack of corporate governance. So that's the area I wanted to mention, corporate governance. So when you have a corporate governance structure that is properly tailored and work ethics is spelled out and the rules. I remember Professor Amadi, talking about, and then Chief Engineer Eze, also of the Procurement Bureau, talking about the fact that the rules for procurement should be strictly followed. So if all of these rules are strictly followed and the corporate governance structure is respected, there won't be a problem if you remove them from the TSA. Funds can be properly administered, and then it becomes easy for the supervisory ministry to, because the minister also signed a performance bond with the management, because that's the mandate of the president, from what we learned, that subsequently there'll be a performance bond from every ministry, every agencies. And so if you're signing a performance bond and there is no funds to actually, carry through those performance or those KPIs, how then do you deliver on your performance bond? So I think, and I said it on that platform that day, and I strongly advocate that the NDDC should be, removed from the TSA.
All right.
If FCT can be, with what they are putting in place, all the government need to do is to ensure that, all of these structures are supervised consistently, and all of those old ways of doing things, where government, agencies and ministry turns it to an ATM where everybody just goes to drop funds. All of those things will be a thing of the past.
All right. I mean, earlier you also raised the issue of abandoned projects, which the NDDC is notorious for. How can this be addressed?
Yeah, that also was an issue that was thoroughly addressed that day by, stakeholders and members of the team, and the reason for all of those abandoned projects. And that's why I said it was good that you have past management and present collaborating and, join with the present management. One of the major reasons was, the fact that, the budget cycle, the way a lot of people don't also understand, budgeting processes in Nigeria. For example, we agreed, even stated by the court, that the budget as submitted to the National Assembly, the National Assembly has the legal capacity to moderate, amend, or insert. So in that case, you find out that in some cases, projects are inserted in budgets and the funds are not released as at when due. So in other claims, when budget is, when a project is budgeted for, it is deemed appropriate, funds is deemed appropriated. So you don't need to begin to wait that, when it is time, and then you now go cap in hand begging for the fund. When the project is budgeted for, the fund immediately is deemed appropriated. So all your drawings will be ready, and so immediately, if, for example, you say you're going to start construction by June, and by June your drawings would have been ready because the fund is available, you hit the ground running. And one of the other issues is the fact that they only have 5 months of dry season in the Niger Delta. Of the 12 months in a year, you only have 5 months of dry season. And in 4 years, which is a term for the board, in a 4-year term, you have only 20 months of dry season, which is less than 2 years. And so when you now have projects that have been budgeted for but not appropriated, when I mean appropriated, funds are not released, when that happens, what you're going to have is a situation where by the time you're moving to the next budget year, that project is no longer in that budget. And the funds for it's no longer available and it wasn't fully released. Let me give you an example, a practical example, so that our viewers will understand. You want to construct the road from Ekakbamre, for example, to Warri, and then the fund for the construction is 21 billion naira, for example. And that fund, government gives it to you monthly. They don't release it once. Every month they will give, and then at the end of the year, half of the fund is not even released. So you find out that that project, by next year, the project will no longer be on the budget for next year. And the fund for that project, in some cases, also, just go somewhere else. And then another thing you find that the National Assembly members also do, because of, oversighting and then, what do they call this? Their constituency project. Projects are included in the NDDC budget.
Also, thank you for going there. How much of political influence does the commission have to deal with? How much has this contributed to lack of progress at the commission?
As an observer that day, I raised a very germane question. The question of interference from supervisory agencies like the National Assembly and the Niger Delta Development Commission. Even though it was collectively agreed that all of these agencies have funds budgeted, for their operations, but there were lots unsaid. Some of those things unsaid were the fact that, even though the National Assembly had admitted that, yes, when they are coming for oversight function, they use their own funds, but when they are invited for programs such as this, it is the prerogative, it is for the commission to pay for their expenses. But there are a lot of things that were unsaid. In Nigeria, if you occupy an office and you don't use that office to assist your relatives, your friends, your people, or even agencies that are supervising you, my sister, when you leave that office, you better don't go home. You remember Goodluck Jonathan, even some job people said, the man no fit, decides saying no contest for president. So all of those were unsaid. And it was obvious that truly you still have this influence hanging over the commission, and which is why the funds is never enough. And so, which is why for people, somebody like me who's also from the Niger Delta, and I feel to strike a balance, there will be need for this fund. What's budgeted, it should be appropriated immediately. So that when you plan and appropriate, when you plan and appropriate the funds, it becomes difficult for anybody to come ask for funds from you or ask for percentage because the fund had been appropriated and there's nothing left on ground. But when it comes in trickles monthly, it is easy for people to be, asking, money don't come, how many contractors are you paying and how many have you not paid? So all of these create problems for them. And I think if government needs to drive a new Niger Delta where truly development will be the initiative. All of these are initiatives that they should take.
Talking about plans, I know there are plans to set up the Niger Delta Stock Exchange and build coastal road across the 9 states of the Niger Delta, terminating in Cross River State. Are you confident these projects will be realized?
Yeah, look, let me say something. If the government, carries on with the way they have been doing, all of these projects will end up as dreams. But if the process and what was complained about are corrected, I think it will not just be a super highway. It will not just be a stock exchange. You might even see a Niger Delta Development Commission running refineries, Niger Delta Development Commission running airline, just like the airline owned by Akwa Ibom State. I do not see why, for example, if funds are available and the Niger Delta, manages these funds and, being an interventionist agencies, and now decide to go into ventures and become self-sustaining. I do not see why they won't, go into businesses that will be profit yielding. Quickly, sorry, I must make this point. Do you know why? Because most of the big oil companies are divesting their interest. And that 5% that used to be, or 3% that used to be available to the Niger Delta for development by the big companies, the moment they divest and they are managed by local companies, the local companies will not, be able to do the kind of volume that the big companies are doing. So that 3% will be reduced. And so once it is reduced, there will be no more, enough funds. And that's why I think they are thinking outside of the box. And that's why government need to truly not just put its words to action by ensuring that there is indeed another method. And then the management also need to truly show that they are different from what the Niger Delta was.
But Mr. Libros, are you aware that international oil companies are accused of not paying their mandatory royalties to the NDDC? How can we deal with this issue?
Yeah, it is the government's responsibility, because the NDDC does not have such huge power to hold the IOCs to ransom or to account. It is the federal government that should be able to hold them to account. And if the federal government puts its foot down, that if its obligation to its agencies are not fulfilled, and then there won't be business as usual, I think the IOCs will comply. Right. But when the federal government is in bed with the IOCs and there are compromises here and there, it becomes very easy for them to, take this thing, gloss over these things and not pay. And coupled with the fact, like I said, that a lot of them are also divesting. And in divesting, some local companies are going to take over. And so the NDDC now need to begin to think outside of the box. But the first thing that I completely agree with all the stakeholders is that there should be a master plan. Right. A master plan will spell out how you are going, where you are going. And subsequently, for you to have a sustainable development, there should be a plan. And then you develop, you carry out quality projects that will last long. And then in maintaining, you cannot begin to say you are sustaining what you have developed. You can't sustain when there is no finances. You can't sustain when there is no plan. You cannot sustain also when the human resources are not, properly motivated, which comes to the issue of staff welfare and payment of contractors.
All right. Mr. Libros Oshoma, a lawyer and public affairs analyst, thank you so much for joining us tonight as we focus on the Niger Delta Development Commission's fresh transformation plans. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, sir.
Always my pleasure. Always my pleasure. Thank you. Yeah.
And thank you very much for watching. That marks the end of today's episode of Politics Tonight. But the conversation continues from here. We're also on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I am Olajumoke Olantuji. I'll see you tomorrow.
Following is a paid presentation by ShopX TV. Today, there are many complex, boring, expensive, and useless exercise machines in the market. Or you pay over 400,000 naira a year for gym membership and never go. ShopX TV is proud to introduce Total Crunch Evolution, the compact, versatile fitness solution that is perfect for you. With Total Crunch, you get a complete fitness workout in one machine. Say goodbye to ineffective and complicated exercise machines. Now, you have the power to transform your fitness journey and get the body you have always wanted right in the comfort of your own home. Total Crunch is the efficient and effective way to build muscle, tone and tighten your legs, shape your back and pectorals, while strengthening your core and defining your abs. Now that's totally effective to get the body you want. With Total Crunch, your whole body works out at the same time. Only Total Crunch can put your whole body in motion as you burn calories and lose weight. Just one fitness routine a week will achieve serious results in 4 weeks.
Total Crunch Evolution has enhanced the way I work out and the results I achieve. It's not just a fitness equipment, it's a life changer. This versatile, time-saving machine is perfect for anyone looking to lose weight or stay in shape. Trust me, this is a game changer you've been waiting for.
With my busy schedule, finding time to work out and stay in shape has always been a challenge until I discovered the Total Crunch Evolution. It's a lifesaver.
Traditional exercise equipment is large, complex, takes up so much space in your home, and you could be paying up to 400,000 naira for annual gym fees. Get the Total Crunch Evolution, the 2-in-1 fitness solution to save the cost and transform your body from the convenience of your home. Similar equipment costs 300,000 naira, but you can get the Total Crunch Evolution for not 300,000 naira, not even 200,000 naira. Order right now and get your Total Crunch Evolution for just 179,950 naira only. And that's not all. You can get our Total Crunch Evolution in 2 easy payments of 89,900